In the previous lesson, we talked about how we can create different types of layouts for our websites. So we started with fixed layout, which contains elements that usually stays on one place and they never change position or dimension. And then we saw the fluid and elastic elements, which can adapt and become like more optimized and change according to the space they have at their disposal, like this example. Now, in this lesson, we will talk about adaptive layouts and responsive. Now, of course, you can always do hybrids, so you can do a mixture of other types of layouts. But nowadays, we usually use responsive, which is basically something that can adapt to various devices in two ways. One, in an elastic fashion so that they extend, they stretch, and they occupy as much of space they can, and adaptive, which means that they can change also according to media queries. So we already saw this in another lesson, but basically we can set up like 2 or 3 or 4 or more devices so that the layout kind of changes radically when it jumps from one screen size to another screen size device. So we can also check the device right here, some examples of the various, or we can go like all the way full size. Now we also saw the difference between live and design. So design is, you can see it's quite different, but the size is useful when you need to build like a layout and define the various parts like panels or the main content or the header, etc., etc. You want to specify the dimension. You want to check out also the padding, the margin, etc., etc., which we talked about again previously. So in this video, we're gonna go from here and we're not gonna go back to the design. We're gonna use the live view, which is showing how the website will actually look like. And responsiveness will never show up when you use the design view. So you can start with a static layout using a graphic design application like Photoshop, Pixar, whatever. You can slice the pieces. You can export, for example, from Photoshop, and then you can start to recreate or like switch from an initial fixed situation to something fluid, then elastic, and then adaptive and responsive. So as usual, we're gonna start by scratch, and I wanna create a new lesson for this. So it's gonna be lesson 14. And we're gonna start with a basic fixed layout with the adaptive feature. So I created a folder, I created the site here in the manage site section. We're ready to go. Now I want to use something that I already have and that we downloaded from freecss.com. It's a static layout. You can find it in page 1. So if you don't have the time to build one, you can just get one of these and that will be fine. Now, I already did that in another lesson. So I'm going to go in lesson 11. I'm going to get my layout 1 from here. So basically all I need is to get this and copy index here and style. So the CSS, the HTML, and bring it into lesson 14. And we're going to start with this. So it should appear here. If it doesn't, you probably just need to refresh or just wait. There you go. So double click, and this is our static layout. Again, you can use these templates to study them and understand now how they have been created using the divs, the IDs, the classes, and especially the, let me go here, CSS designer. And so this one here, for example, is called navigation. So it's for the menu. This one here is like an extra panel. So if we go here and find it in the extra, you can see these are all divs. And here you can see, for example, if you're curious, the positioning. So you can see the position here is static, not absolute. And so you can find the properties that have been used. You can also go through the CSS. So if we go here in the extra, that's one, and you can see we have a float left parameter here to make it float. So my guess is that also this central part is floating left, and also the navigation. Yeah, so you can see everything is kind of floating to the left. So it's using the float feature. Okay, so let's start by creating some changes using media queries. So I'm going to change the name here. I'm going to call this free CSS adaptive layout. Okay, so right now we have a static situation, and it's the only thing that is adaptive here is the center. So you can see this is placed at the center of the screen horizontally, because it also has a container you can see here, and we can see that it's the text alignment is in the left. But if we see here, there is another rule that is saying, okay, here the total width will be 700. So if I make it like 800, I can make it bigger, but some things will change here. So let's keep it as it is. And the margin is auto, meaning that it's gonna go automatically from the left or from the right. So it means that it's gonna go in the middle. So if I reach the container here and want to center this a little bit also, not only horizontally but vertically, and I will go here to position, and we can set up like a position here. For example, from the top, let's put like 10%. Okay, but this is not actually happening right now because I have position static. So I'm going to change this into absolute. I'm going to put something here on the top like 10%, and on the left we can use like 50% or something. So let's try 50, and also from here we need to specify 50. So we need to kind of indicate a value that will push the element into the middle. We need to figure out also how much is taking this of space into the middle. So this is kind of a example, but you can try also with other solutions. Okay, so this is not a website that is like completely static now. It's kind of adapting to the page, and it's getting almost in the middle. You can see we need some fixing to do. We need to make some precise calculation with the percentage. And again, there are other ways. So I'm going to delete everything here and put this back to static, and it goes back into the middle because of the auto margins here mainly, as we said also before. But this is just, a brief explanation on how you can then start to adapt your website to your ideas. Still, this part in the middle is fixed. Now, this will be fine until we reach this point approximately. So probably this is the measure of a like big smartphone. So if I want to adapt this to this other situation, we need media queries for that. It's suggesting you to click on the plus icon in the ruler to add a media query. So this is a quick way we can do it. So if I click there, it's going to say max width, and that's going to be 399 pixels. So again, it's kind of a fixed and static situation, but it will adapt. Do we want to create a new CSS file for this, or well, we already have it, so I'm going to use the style CSS. So I'm going to say okay, and there you go. So right now I am defining a new media query right here. So this is the code that we didn't write. It was already there, and this little piece here is something added. Now be careful, because sometimes with code that you didn't write yourself, you could have issues here with media queries and other stuff, but we'll try. So we're gonna say now that at 399 things will change. And let's go now in the CSS designer again. So you can also click here on this green. So it says you're gonna be here. So you can see here, if I double click, I can also change the media query. We already saw this. We can also add, remove conditions for the media query. We can add, remove media query from here. So we already saw this before. Let's adjust now the site to this media query right here. So you see we have global, meaning that this is like the general behavior of the various parts of the layout. In this, instead, we have the behavior of the parts only when we reach